The man pressed an invisible switch in the air, and before his eyes, a sleek sports car appeared like a ghost. Rick jumped inside, but before he could even accelerate, a snowmobile came crashing into the rear. The impact hurled him across the ice, spinning violently for several meters. On the other side, a hitman spotted the commotion and activated thermal vision, locking onto his target. Moments later, he unleashed his arsenal. Bursts of blazing fire tore through the darkness, forcing Rick into razor-sharp maneuvers. To make matters worse, the car's cloaking system failed under the barrage, exposing his position. The chase carried them across a vast, frozen plain. Rick, a master behind the wheel, drifted through impossible turns. But when the assassin closed in, Rick yanked the handbrake, spinning the car around to face him, and fired a missile. The villain, relentless, responded by deploying his secret, side-mounted weapon. A thunderous explosion flipped Rick's car upside down. Yet before the final blow could land, he triggered the eject system, escaping by a hair's breadth. But the killer refused to quit. He floored the accelerator, driving Rick into an icy cavern. There, he armed the steel ram mounted to his car, ready to impale his prey. Rick, with soldier's reflexes, reactivated the cloaking mode and swerved away at the last second, in a counterattack. It was Rick who sent the assassin plunging into an endless abyss, but this was only the surface of the story. Days earlier, Rick had gone undercover as a fake buyer to sabotage an illegal arms deal. His identity, however, was betrayed by a mole. The assassin back then. Without the scars he would soon carry tipped off the warlord Doosan. What followed was chaos and blood. The bald hitman was left disfigured. Doosan fell from a cliff, and Rick barely escaped with his life. Then came Feng, Duzan's ruthless father. He captured Rick and tried to break him through torture. He failed. In the end, Rick was freed in a hostage exchange, but suspicions about him grew within his own agency. Cornered, he staged his own death and slipped away during a staged medical rescue. Tracking new leads, Rick learned that Clark, the hitman, was still alive, recovering in a hospital. On his way there, he crossed paths with a mysterious woman known only as Selena, unaware of her true identity. When Rick finally confronted Clark, a brutal fight consumed a building, ending with the villain's escape in a helicopter. Selena, meanwhile, vanished aboard a yacht. From that battle, Rick salvaged just one vital clue, evidence pointing to one of the region's most powerful diamond dealers. Infiltrating his fortress, Rick discovered the magnate showing off satellites he claimed could accelerate crop growth. To Rick, it reeked of something darker, an ominous plan for mass destruction. At the same time, Selena tracked Clark back to Doosan's base, but she was too late. A deadly ambush was already waiting. Just as her fate seemed sealed, Rick arrived. Together, they tore through the army of mercenaries, boarding Doosan's plane. They fought to the end, and the villain met the same fate as his father, falling into fire and chaos. Rick and Selena escaped at the very last moment, carrying with them a peace paid for in countless lives. At last, the world was free from the shadow of the satellite weapon, and for the first time in a long while, they both could finally breathe in relief.